Is Friday the 13th on the NES a misunderstood cult oddity or an overhyped shovelware scare machine wearing an LJN logo like a scarlet letter? Trick question. It's both, plus a third thing nobody warned us about, the moment Jason Voorhees swaggers on screen in a lavender tracksuit and teal hockey mask. He looks less like an unstoppable slasher and more like he's late for Jazzercise. Underrated, possibly, because its infamous Nintendo Power Worst of 89 drubbing scared a generation off before they saw the strategic heart beating beneath those zombies. Overrated? Also yes, but mostly by YouTube Scream compilations that treat it like the epitome of licensed garbage. Fundamental to horror gaming. If you track the lineage from Haunted House on Atari to Resident Evil, Camp Crystal Lake's 8-bit overnight shift deserves at least an asterisk, and maybe a commemorative purple sweater. Negligible? Only if you ignore the time a NECA Comic-Con exclusive toy and a 2017 Retro Jason DLC skin turned this palette error into pop culture gold. We already know this. Accidents sometimes age like fine wine, or at least like boxed Franzia. Historical context, LJN's 1989 release slate reads like the B-movie aisle at the mom-and-pop video store. The Karate Kid, Beetlejuice, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and yes, Friday the 13th. Their mandate was simple: grab hot licenses, ship fast, pray for Christmas. Under the hood though, this cartridge is Atlus code. Yup, Shin Megami Tensei's future dungeon artisans crunched out a slasher adaptation for Western kids because Nintendo of America wanted another killer app. Pun only half intended, and Japan had little interest in hockey-masked maniacs. Development logs later surfaced with designer Ryutaro Ito admitting the difficulty curve was deliberate, part of an industry trend to make US rentals last a weekend. Cheap quarter-eater psychology transplanted to blockbuster shelves. February 1989 saw the cart hit North American stores with no Famicom counterpart. The rumored Japanese version died quietly in planning documents, too niche for a market that treated American slashers like imported cheese. Tasty, but why not buy local? My own brush came that summer at Richmond Mall's Aladdin's Castle Cabinet Row, except it wasn't an arcade machine, it was the demo kiosk by the counter, the kind where sticky controllers and lost manuals were standard loadouts. I remember hearing the game's looping Cavern Doom bass line over the din of Double Dragon 2. Those few minutes I couldn't figure out why zombies wandered a summer camp or why my counselor threw rocks in rainbow arcs, but I walked away unsettled and slightly sticky. In the broader NES ecosystem, 1989 was transitional. Platformers still ruled: Mega Man 2, DuckTales. Zelda clones experimented with overhead maps, and horror had no obvious flagship. Friday the 13th thus felt both ahead and behind, strategic like Ultima, yet action light like Kung Fu. Critics called it too weird, but weirdness was partly the point. Nintendo hadn't yet codified genre lanes, so LJN's Rainbow Skull icon roamed free like Jason stalking cabins after curfew. Mechanics. Let's dissect the purple elephant in the camp. You begin with 6 counselors: Mark, Paul, George, Laura, Debbie, and Chrissy, each with hardwired stats for speed, jump arc, and rowing. Yes, rowing. Crystal Lake isn't just set dressing. The game boots you onto an overhead map dotted with 50-odd cabins, a shimmering lake loop, shadowy woods, and a cave network that twists like an Escher doodle folded into a burrito. On paper, it's survival horror. In practice, it's a time management sim wearing zombie face paint. Every few minutes, a chime signals Jason attacking a cabin. Your job: swap to the nearest counselor, start button toggles like a 56K modem scrolling through AOL screen names, sprint across side-scrolling trails, dive inside before Jason murders kids off screen. Each child death noted by a mournful tombstone icon. Fail enough rescues and it's game over, no matter how swole your machete collection. The tension isn't about gore. Nintendo said no. It's about triage. Weapons evolve from Pebble Arc that would embarrass Link to knife, machete, axe, and torch. Plus, for the ambitious, the motherlode pitchfork dropped by Pamela Voorhees' decapitated head in the darkest cave corner, because Atlus couldn't resist channeling Castlevania meets Zelda meets Reanimator. The torch's flame sprites flicker like a CRT on life support, but it's Jason's kryptonite, shaving hit points faster than Contra's spreadshot chews alien flesh. Getting it requires obscure jumps, lighters, hidden notes, and more backtracking than an anime filler arc. Esoteric, yes, but delicious once mastered. Don't play coy. You watched an FAQ or YouTube walkthrough to find it, same as the rest of us. The Jason fights alternate between two screens. Inside cabins, your counselor sidesteps while Jason lunges like Mike Tyson in Punch Out, only wearing that now iconic lavender ensemble. Absurd element locked. Outside, on forest paths, he sprints back and forth, hurling machetes like a boomerang-obsessed boogeyman. The indoor duels degrade into twitchy rhythm games. Dodge low-high low-punch loops, then counter-throw your weapon in limited iframe windows. Jason has more invulnerability frames than a 3.5 ED and D monk hopped up on haste. Outdoors, his AI simply bulldozes, so your best tactic is keep jumping and hope the hitbox gods favor you. Add day-night cycles. Around every 6 minutes, dusk falls, the sky palette darkens, and zombie density spikes. Nighttime also amplifies the game's off-kilter soundtrack, thin square wave stabs that modulate into unsettling trills whenever Jason is near. Composer Hirohiko Takayama allegedly wrote the battle riff in one sitting, then sped it up 20% to fit memory limits. True or legend, it nails the campfire gone wrong vibe. The absurd thread of that purple tracksuit, it wasn't a mistake, it was a deliberate choice against NES color limits. Jason's film-accurate navy outfit blended into black backdrops, so Atlus pushed him into lilac land. 35 years later, NECA immortalized that palette in a glow-in-the-dark figure. Gun Media's 2017 Friday the 13th, the game patched in retro Jason, 8-bit music included, turning an old compromise into brand synergy. Purple never dies, it respawns in DLC. Legacy and influence mainstream press in '89 graded the cart below sea level. Electronic Gaming Monthly called it confusing. Nintendo Power buried it in a sidebar of rental warnings. But cult status germinated in playground whispers. Did you know Jason's mom's severed head lives in a cave? Spoken like an urban legend, you swear your cousin's friend verified. By the mid-90s, the game became an emulator dare, lumped with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Silver Surfer as LJN endurance tests. Yet its design DNA presaged later survival management hybrids. Protect those kids, escort mission, juggle inventories across multiple protagonists. Hello, Resident Evil 0. Memorize labyrinthine maps. Shout out to Dark Souls item routes. Culturally, the Purple Jason meme took off after Angry Video Game Nerd's 2006 review, then skyrocketed with NECA's 2013 Comic-Con exclusive, complete with chiptune Roar. Gun Media leveraged that nostalgia apology patch in 2017 after online servers wobbled. Fans forgave them, proving 11 seconds of 8-bit whoosh can quell a subreddit revolt. Somewhere, an Atlus coder from 89 sips coffee and smiles at the ROI of a palette swap. Why didn't the game spawn direct sequels? Blame LJN's implosion in '94, a shifting ESRB climate, and Nintendo's retreat from mature licenses pre-Conquer. By the time publishers eyed Camp Crystal Lake again, 16-bit had ceded to 3D, and horror moved to CD quality screams. Still, you can trace echoes. The counselor microstats foreshadow Dead by Daylight survivor perks. The day-night urgency reappears in Until Dawn's chapter clock. Not bad for a cartridge the size of a Pop-Tart. Closing paragraph plus score. So does Friday the 13th on NES belong in the Retro Hall of Fame or sealed in a shoebox marked Do Not Resuscitate? I split the difference. It's a vexing, oddly forward-thinking horror experiment wrapped in a rainbow of design sins. The map is obtuse, the zombies respawn like kettle corn, and Jason's hitboxes sometimes ignore Euclidean geometry. But the strategic juggling, the secret hunting meta loop, and that unintentional fashion icon in purple keep me coming back every few Halloweens. If you judge games solely by polish, slash the cartridge into tiny bits. If you value ambition wrestling with silicon limits, Camp Crystal Lake's 8-bit shift is cult classic +1. Final score 6.5 out of 10, or if we're grading on Lavender Swagger alone, a flawless 13 out of Patimundravde.
We'll see you next time on Pablo Plates.